3, the big decider. Once again, NewBee with pick priority this round have elected to go blue side, so not a single side swap this game.
Yeah.
Rusty, thank you so much for your analysis. We'll see you after the set. So far, it is Rise and Camille, same set of bans from game number 2. There's actually Jace and LeBlanc. Let's see if they go for the Graves.
So Aimee here, they've decided to move the LeBlanc up, which means that they're probably looking to just sack the Rumble. They want to see what ban NewBee is going towards, and so they can get the last ban if they're comfortable with what's being left up. At this point, they should be comfortable with both Graves and Rengar. Mostly because unless if they believe that Swift is looking to just first pick it, the Graves, then that's what happened. We'll see if they go towards it. That just means that we have the same bans once again. Rumble could be the last one if Aimee is comfortable with what's the power picks available. Ooh, the Malzahar.
Graves has to be so terrifying though. Malzahar is the ban. Last time NewBee priority picked Nautilus in game number 2. Let's see if they want to show us something new this time.
So here, there are a lot of options once again, and we talk about NewBee just constantly picking up these random first picks, and these random first picks actually just comes back to Swift being comfortable with the counter pick. So you'd have to expect Aimee, either they go towards the Rengar once again, and then suddenly NewBee has Karma and Graves, or this time Aimee say, well, we'll pick up the Nautilus. Or we'll pick up the Graves. I just want to see them pick up Graves this time around, and as I say that, they pick it up.
Why not both? Aimee looks like they're running NewBee's composition against them. Tragically, they won't get a Karma this time. So Swift is going to have to show us something new as he spills a little bit of water on his lap. Totally deliberate.
Yep. But
calculated.
Yeah, and honestly, Ben for an amazing J. I think this is just Aimee adapting very well to last set. You know, this is them being able to pick up Graves and recognizing that priority, if a NewBee wasn't going to look towards picking it up first time round, this time they get it for themselves. And so this is the Rumble that we've been talking about with Sky. He has played the Rumble like historically. That has been a pick that he's gone towards in the first time when he was in the LPL, way in the past. They were afraid of Aimee picking it up.
Yeah, he's played it professionally. He's played it 9 times, but only won with it 3. So rocking a whopping 33% win rate with that Rumble.
To be fair, he was on a bad team. I mean, I'm not gonna give him that. You lose every game, but if you're still the star of that game, then you know what? You still get the the points.
It's been 8 months. Maybe he's just been one-tricking it in solo queue to get up in the rankings. Aimee, however, are going to answer as they block in Lulu for Road to enable him once again. So still the same setup out of Aimee. AD carry and mid are left open.
And we were surprised when we didn't see the Lulu coming through in priority. And now this time, Aimee was able to get the Graves, able to get the Lulu and the Nautilus for themselves. Their team fight is just set. I mean, at this point, they can just go Teemo and they'll be happy. I mean, that's a bit overboard, so gotta draw that back. But this is looking really good for Aimee.
I like the slow withdrawal, like, yeah.
Even get Teemo, get in there.
He could go thresh 80 carry. No, he can't.
Yeah.
As Vladimir is the next ban targeted towards Athena. NewBee still respecting Athena's presence in that mid lane. In game number 1, he was able to take Ahri to great success. Did they ban it again?
And honestly, his Echo game was just fine in the early game too, especially since he was able to hold Ben for his hand and be able to let him to farm up. And sure, as the game goes on, he didn't have that access towards the backline, but he definitely still had good positioning in the last set. So yeah, Vladimir, definitely don't give him that champion. We saw him be able to take the game from the brink of basically
against WE,
against WE. And
what was it, like 15,000 gold down, all 3 inhibitors destroyed.
And we saw how NewBee plays on the champion, just don't let him pick it up, and so it gets banned.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Ashe is the follow-up ban, and with Jin taken away, that means Jin Zhao's going to have to show us something new on the AD carry, and as I may have shown before, they want to save that final pick for Athena.
You know what Jin Zhao has played in the past, though?
Sivir.
Oh yeah, Sivir, but also Kog'Maw. And so Kog'Maw is a champion that has come back a little bit.
Lulu Nautilus.
Lulu Nautilus and Lulu Kog'Maw. I mean, he's probably just going to go towards the Ezreal. That's just fine. We saw the Kog'Maw go on to SMLZ yesterday, and we saw how much success he has. He has been a Kog'Maw player, and in the next patch, he's definitely going to be a little bit more prevalent. Don't lock in that champion.
Don't get too excited, Raz.
I say that.
I know you're the Lucian one trick.
I just don't want him to lock in this champion. I love Lucian in the new patch, but just remember, ask your coach.
Yeah.
Ask your coach. What patch are we playing on?
Coach, is this live? No, it is not.
All right.
Can I still play him?
No.
No, you may not.
Not happening.
Caitlyn is the answer instead. And now we get to see where that karma is going to end up going for Coco.
All right. So that's going to be nice to see. I think it could very well be, once again, in towards the... Oh. All right.
All right. You can take Ari in the mid lane. Well, check this out.
So this is a big thing. Ari has been picked a lot more success. I mean, as I say that, we look towards the win rate, and it's 33%. I mean, globally. Somebody has been listening on me when I say that. But yeah, globally, a lot more success. We've been seeing it get picked out a little bit more. The usual worries with the champion is that the laning phase is a little bit difficult for most matchups. But then you can get past it.
Whoa!
Oh!
Athena! All right, I like it. Katarina is the final pick. He had Orianna hovered. He waited it out. There's no hand going up as they traded over. They wanted this.
Yeah, okay, the cameraman is definitely taking a look at this man, and I kind of had to do it because who is that man? We saw him play Ari, we saw him play Katarina. Apparently this man has gone through a metamorphosis, change.
Hasn't he been all about control mages in the past?
Yeah, so him going on towards Katarina is ridiculous. So, I'll tell you right now. And I mean, Katarina is great in the matchup. It's very difficult for Ari to come through with that one. So you have to watch out. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not he can actually play it. I know that he did share the lineup with Bamey once upon a time, and Bamey was the Katarina player back in the day. Maybe he got absorbed some of his juju, some of his vibes.
Yeah.
Maybe he can pick up that basketball and absorb that play.
Yeah, so taking a look through his previous champions, the closest thing he's played to Katarina has been Kassadin 8 times, which is a 50% win rate. And then all the way down at the bottom of the list, he's played Ari twice and Diana twice.
Yep.
This is the first time we've seen him take a high mechanic, high effectiveness assassin.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
This is going to be big. I mean, Athena, we always kind of propped him up because he's played incredibly well throughout the split. He's had, of course, a few bad games and helping out Ben4 because their duo has been fairly weak. Ben4 is starting to get a little better. It's hard to say that now because he got completely smashed by Swift. Let's see if he can actually help out his man in the mid lane because we've seen Katarina come through on the side of IG, and usually, you can help him out quite a bit. So he doesn't get ganked quite often.
And that's something that actually I want to talk a little bit about is the jungle matchup once again. Ben4 has pretty effectively ignored Athena for the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game, whereas Swift has shown he's willing to go mid level 3 like 4 minutes in.
Oh, to be fair, on that point, I mean, I agree with you, but if you definitely lose out a lot of your control in the jungle, you're not going to be able to
sure, comparatively.
But game 1, yeah,
but I mean,
it's a good point.
Even in the sense that, like, Swift, even if he's not ahead, will still just run through lane just to be a presence.
And definitely the person who has been coming mid more often on IMA has been Rogue.
More
so than Ben4. So that is definitely a point to raise. And so, I mean, this is objectively, you look towards this comp, and that's a really good comp coming from IMA. You look towards the comp, and you have the specific lane matchups working really well for you. As a 5v5, you're incredibly strong. Lulu and Katarina works incredibly well. You don't even have that much CC on the side of NewBee to be able to deal with her once he does come in. It's going to be all on Charm. But if you're looking at Charm defensively, suddenly you're not going to be using Ari as that deep dive champion.
Yeah, and I love how Coco actually pivoted that summoner spell. He had Ignite earlier, then once he saw the Katarina, waited out the timer, swapped it over to Exhaust.
Yeah.
We've seen Athena play mechanically huge on that Ari in game number 1. Wasn't hitting all the charms, but Katarina's not a skill shot champion.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to worry about this time around. So perhaps Coco is the one worrying a little bit about that skill shot, as it is going to be Raptor start out of Ben 4. He clears that camp out nice and timely, and red buff start out of Swift on the opposite side.
So, like, just to hit the matchup too, as a general point, if you take out Raptors, you can actually look to path towards the enemy blue buff because you're just that much closer in comparison to the enemy jungler if you recognize where they're starting. So as a general point, Graves could just very easily go towards that blue buff and steal it from under Rengar's nose. We've seen a lot of kind of cute pathings coming out of junglers on that point. But he's actually just going to go for a pretty standard one, get his red buff, and might even go towards Wolf Camp afterwards.
Gets that red buff now cleared out as Swift clearing out his own red, and Raptors heads to the top side of the jungle to keep himself safe. Even Ben4 clearing out the blast cone on that side of the jungle just in case. So Swift getting his blue just in time. This time we're not going to see any crazy early invades just yet. Ben4 prioritizing that buff nice and early on.
Okay, so he's not going towards the experience of the full clear here. He's not going to be able to just go for a wolf onto blue buff. He's just trying to get level 3. And so now he can be able to get level 3 off the blue buff, and then he's going to go maybe get the Scuttle Crab if it's up and available for him. Maybe look to pressure mid so he can help out Katarina, because Katarina is just going to get, if she so chooses, can just get constantly pushed in. The worry here, if Ahri continues to do this, is that you just lose a lot of mana. Meanwhile, Athena can just healthily stay in the lane. Yeah,
the 3-pot start along with his longsword is going to be pretty effective. Ooh. Ben4 actually doing something a little unexpected here. He's ganking mid lane level 3, but Swift is right there and gets level 4. The placement of that ward means that Ben4 was spotted. He's forced to recall as Krugs is being stolen by Swift, and with bottom lane pushed in, there's no way for Ben4 to go and answer with Krugs on the opposite side.
Yeah, for me, what was unexpected was the ward, the defensive ward coming out of Coco, because that was 100% the only option that Ben4 had, was to go towards this. With the clear that he made, with Katarina getting constantly shoved in. With that said, holy moly, watch out. But yeah, yeah, he definitely goes mid because Katarina is opening up the opportunity. So Koku recognizes that and gets the ward out. Now he has no mana to his name, and that's what's difficult here with the Ahri matchup, is that he has to stick into lane as long as he can. Swift has to help him out here.
Yeah, now they're going to spot it out. Swift hopefully looking to break this setup a little bit. Perhaps going to, yeah, he actually will share some of the experiences as Athena goes in.
Yeah, you kind of have to. It's not much you can really change about that. He's just trying to get as good of a back timing as he possibly can. So even if that means just taking the CS, taking the experience, then that's fine as long as Ahri can get out of there. Because if Ahri sticks to the lane, then you just suddenly you can't CS anymore. You can't trade at all. It doesn't matter what you do. And if you back anytime afterwards, then Katarina can just completely hold the wave and will get a massive CS advantage. With that being said, Coco sticks to it because he recognized Athena thinks that he backed. And so the shove that Athena put through now can actually get answered to, and Coco can take the wave for free. So that was a good mind game coming out of Coco. Makes the decision, but whoa!
Clever. Doesn't go straight for the dagger and actually ends up getting just ahead of Coco. So it's a 7 CS lead for Athena in the laning phase on this Katarina into Ahri. The control mage player showing us something new. Ben4 ganking bottom. He's getting some damage there as Amazing J. He could be in danger here, yeah. Gets the slow.
Might have flashed,
yeah.
The biggest worry about that, too, is Amazing J wasn't really, I guess he wasn't really observant of Sky's rage bar, or just because he had a lot more abilities to spam before he can put into that danger mode where he gets silenced. So Rumble had a lot of time to really spare, and so the free flash coming through, he's looking really good in that top side of the map.
An empowered Electro Harpoon and Flame Spitter means a very hurting Nautilus, that's the name of that champion. I know that. He actually teleported back up to top with a full, Doran's ring after the corrupting potion. So Amazing J didn't even wait to top himself off. No, actually, he canceled his recall. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Oh,
both the junglers shell themselves bottom.
Woo! He just slips in. Cannon Minion didn't catch him. This is going to be big.
Oh, rushes forward, but there's a Rengar leaping out. He flashes right back. He doesn't want to mess with Swift this time around. Large Soul Flare. Swift looking for Jin Zhao, but doesn't find him.
If he clipped him on that one, that would have been pretty big. But he didn't get the clip on with his Q. Caitlyn, that is. Athena has full control of this side, so this means that NewBee have to start to really relax here. Caitlyn doesn't have a lot of mana, same with Moore. So yeah, you were able to pressure out this lane and push it in. With that being said, they're taking a little bit more of a risk. But that's because they know where Katarina is on the map. So if they, Katarina was able to clear that ward near mid lane and had the option of just roaming towards the bot side.
I think Coco might have gone for a second recall as Athena picks up his Bilgewater Cutlass on the return into lane, going for the Gunblade as his standard. And Coco, Negatron Cloak first. He's not taking any chances whatsoever, and I'm sure this Athena is loving it.
Yeah, that's a smart point. I think for, oh, okay, it's a lot of damage, especially weaves in the auto attack, so that's a little bit unfortunate.
That was unexpected.
But he's able to lifesteal. He has the Bilgewater Cutlass if he can get a lot of the procs off. Oh, as I say that,
tries to force it, knows that he's got the
Charm
on cooldown.
Oh,
Jukes it around, but Coco reads it with a Spirit Rush. Ben 4 actually walking in forces him back.
And suddenly Coco has no mana, so this is something where they have to all in or just look to back. Oh!
Ben 4 tries to read the charm, but all it takes is a Spirit Rush. Swift follows up and bursts it down. First blood on to Swift.
That was the best they can get out of that, and that was a lot they got out of that. So being able to take down Ben 4 because he didn't have his flash up was really good because Coco lost a lot out in that entire trade. And so he either had to get that complete shove in to back, where he was already at a major CS disadvantage, or all in for a fight, which he wasn't able to help out with. So that was great from Swift to recognize the small window that they were able to come out ahead with.
Very effective use of that, as now Coco is able to catch a few of these minions. Still down nearly 20 CS as Swift heads top. Amazing J is going to walk right into him. Surprise!
Oh!
Whoa! Flashes in front of the hook.
Oh,
he's on top of an equalizer. Swift, I have never seen a read like that. What?
I mean, the last time I saw that big of a read coming out of Swift, it was 2 games ago on that Elise.
Amazing J has to reset himself in his chair like, oh, all right, hold on. Let me stand up, stretch my legs, get back down here. He was a full chapter ahead.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And I mean, Swift recognized that Nautilus was coming back to the lane, and that was a lot of damage that was going to come through. And so, of course, if you look at the Bola, just take a look. He has red buff. It's clearly coming through. He sits on top of it, and that, look at this. Oh, sit in the fire. So that was a big point of contention. Amazing J was not going to be able to survive out of that one.
Amazing play from Swift. Holy cow.
Yeah. So that was good.
That was really cool.
Hands off. Like, that was really solid. Oh, Road, get out of there.
Whoa.
He was trying
Finally
to
backs it up. Killed some of the minions there. That's going to be one going down, and now it turns on to the cannon. So only one minion missed as Jinzhao makes it back into bottom lane, going for the tier start. Still haven't seen a recall out of LWX, and he will complete that, it looks like. BF Sword. Athena continuing to farm mid lane, has not completed his own recall yet as he's looking for Gunblade, but Road is on the way.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to get too much out of this. I think he doesn't even have his jungler along with him, so he's not going to get too much of a deep ward, but he got a deep enough ward to recognize where Rengar is. And Coco has to really just relax here because he's definitely surviving on just a
He's a little jumpy here.
Yeah, and so just take a look at this. Like, Athena is so comfortable in this lane. Usually, you know, when you see a Katarina pick up the longsword early, like just level 1 in the base, you're like, that's going to turn into a Hex Drinker to survive the lane. That's usually up against the Syndra. You know, the Hypers, but he recognizes this is such a good matchup. That's going straight into Bilgewater Cutlass. That's going straight into damage, outright damage. And so Katarina, really good lane for her. And this is just pretty much Athena setting himself up, and he showcased that, yeah, he can play this champion very well.
Oh, yeah. Doing a lot of work in the mid lane. 30 CS ahead right now as he's going to go for that recall. Let's see if it's enough for the full Gunblade as he stacks it back.
Should be enough. Yeah.
And just short. Decides to go for boots, refillable, and some control wards instead. So a little bit of utility to enable his team on this setup. Doesn't want to be ganked by that Rengar once again as Ben 4 continues clearing out. And Swift finds himself back in his native environment, the enemy jungle.
Yeah, and so he's just, at this point, Swift is in a really comfortable point where he's counter-jungling. Graves is going to be looking to a CS, and he is so far down in this matchup. 45 CS to the 78 of Rengar, and Rengar has taken complete control at top side, where Amazing J is threatened. But as I say that, Athena and Ben 4 are looking towards this lane.
Yeah, they're going to try to
up on Sky.
Damage. There is teleport also available for Amazing J. Athena clears out the control ward, but Swift will spot him. He pops on the hunt. Jinzhao forced to get away from Ace in the hole as Ben 4 might be too far forward. He gets caught by the charm, and Coco picks up an almost free kill.
And that was botched pretty heavily. Yep. That was the one play that I were looking for to all in on, and Graves loses his life to it. Sky is so far ahead of this Graves. Oh my god.
Gets on top of the charm. But
Don't
Coco once again reacts so well. That's a late exhaust. And finally Coco makes it out. Doesn't flash, but he still panics.
Yeah, there was no reason for Coco to go back into that. He missed his charm. There was really no damage that was going to be assured coming through on that one. So yeah, he's gonna be pretty sad about it. He's definitely gonna have to relax here. He was able to chug down a few of the refillable potions, so he could stay in this lane, but he missed a lot of his abilities there, so he actually has to back away.
Yeah, Athena's zoning Coco away from the turret and chipping down at its health. Mountain Drake is taken by Swift. He tops himself off to full health. As Ben4 sitting and waiting in the mid lane, Athena tries to bait it forward. Swift is on the way.
Oh.
So they will spot him.
Uh-oh. I mean, this shouldn't turn into anything. Swift should actually be really okay with it.
Yeah, he's a full level ahead. Ruby Crystal and Boots up. As Road takes a hit. And will secure blue buff. So things looking good for NewBee.
Yeah.
It's a much slower paced game, but they're still looking strong.
If we take a reset in this game, it reminds me of game 1, where Athena is at a really good position in this game. Much like he was when he was on Ari in game 1. But the rest of his map is just falling really far behind, specifically Ben4. So Ben4 is at a really bad point, 90 CS to 48, 0-2 and 0, because he's just looking for these fights that are just not working out for him. And it's because NewBee as a team is playing like a team. And what that means is that when I may look towards bot side, they're able to just, as a unit, really look to just defend that and push that away. And then you look towards the top side and you see Sky and Swift playing so well together, and here we go.
Oh, flash knock up onto LWX. He's still got his own flash as Amazing J gets in, but it's answered by Sky. He's going to get in, drop the equalizer on top. Amazing J is looking for the hook, finds LWX. X through the 90 caliber net, but Jin Zhao is too far back. There's no follow-up. But here comes Athena. He's sped up by Road and decides to leap forward, gets one, follows it up through the exhausted Thunderlords, goes down. Coco pursues, but that's Sky under the turret, and Athena is way too deep, flashes and chases, gets the reset, and hops right on out. 2 kills for Athena. Meanwhile, Ben4 trading with Swift as the top lane. Junglers have become the top laners, and Swift says, get the hell out of my lane.
Athena is trying so hard, but then Ben4 always comes out and gets another death to his name. But I mean, this is great for Athena. He was able to outplay the situation too, because Coco was coming in, was able to get the kill off of Road, so it was a 1-for-1 trade because of the nice rotation coming out of Coco. But then, when it came down to it, Coco tried to challenge Athena, but he used his flash to get towards the Rumble and get the second kill to his name. So that was a positive trade in the favor of Aime. And then suddenly Swift gets the 1v1 kill on the top side of the map. So not much you can do there if you're Athena. All you can do is hope and pray that Ben4 doesn't die.
Yeah. This is very unexpected from Athena to be playing this Katarina so well. You would expect him to break out a surprise pick like this in their game against EDG, not against NewBee, who are 2-6. I mean, they're still going to play against Game Talents as well later this week.
Oh, no.
So perhaps they've got something prepared for that.
Swift definitely takes the blue
buff.
He
did. Oops.
Yep. From Coco. That's unfortunate. The red buff definitely
a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just goes to show Aime are taking this game seriously, and we're still seeing Swift do the same as he trades some damage, and Swift perfectly separates it to make his way out of pit.
Yeah, to your point, that's just like a general issue where, yeah, Athena suddenly showed himself to be able to carry on a lot of champions now.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of his play on, like, even Corki, where you're just like, yeah, he's kind of playing it as an assassin, but he's still playing it as a control mage as well. You see him kind of stride down that line of being able to play his general carries in an assassin fashion. Now he's just outright saying that I can play many champions. Sky, walk out of there. You're getting ganged up on, Sky.
Caught by the hook, drops an equalizer. Ben4 is going to have to walk over that as Amazing J gets chunked down. Here he comes. Might try to turn this back as there is the depth charge on cooldown, and they managed to get it. Meanwhile, NewBee making a play on the top side of the map. They don't have a minion wave, though.
Oh, so it was great from Aime to be able to control the last wave that was crashing in on that tower. So in the end of the day, that was just a good pick from Aime to be able to take down the likes of Sky on the bottom side. So Sky should have definitely been a lot more aware of the map when he was looking for that trade on the bot side. And he was hoping, yeah, you know what, I get caught, maybe I can kind of burn as much time as possible. But no, NewBee wasn't able to get anything on the top side, but they're now trying towards this mid lane.
Yeah, suddenly there's a complete and total dearth of wave control. NewBee as 4 are able to get in. Ben4 on the side. Uses collateral damage on the minions alone, but the cannon soaks up a lot. Athena will try to clean some up, but karma means NewBee is able to back right on out.
So this is a little bit of a scare when it comes to Aime right there. That was just a small glimpse of it in terms of siege. They don't really have much wave clearing dealing with it. They're really kind of betting on Ben4 to be able to use his collateral damage defensively to wave clear that out. And if that's all you're really hoping for, then suddenly it's really tricky for them. Especially since suddenly they had to use Athena to just use her Q and to get in there to completely clear out the wave. But then if you're doing that, suddenly, yeah, you can get completely shut down by a trap coming in from LWX if he can lay it down properly, or just a charm from Coco. So he has to watch out for that. if that's their only really reliable wave clear, or maybe even just a true shot barrage. But these are investment of ultis. Just to clear out when NewBee set up for an entire, just a siege.
And you can see how Aimee are starting to respond, recognizing this potential weakness in their composition. They've brought Jin Zhao mid. They've sent Athena top, and Road gets wards and get out of there. As Swift, along with the rest of NewBee, once again invade into Aimee's jungle and just clear out vision. They could be looking for Rift Herald once again.
Yeah, but at this point, using her ulti just for the camps is not a good idea. You've already punished him. You should just look towards the mid lane at this point. So they should try and effectively look to just pull into this. Unfortunately, for NewBee, Aimee made a good decision in pulling down a lot of wards on the red side of the map. That means Amazing J, he has Nautilus, of course. He has the TP. If the siege comes through, you have to watch out for the ooh. I mean, other than that, he's still taking damage.
Yeah, you do have to watch out for the ooh.
Yep, I got the exact words.
And more though, he's very conscientious of it. He's going to back away from this, but Swift from the brush suddenly finds himself in a very scary situation. He's CC locked and gets demolished. No chance to make it over that wall as teleport is canceled by Sky.
I feel like I don't even have to explain why that was bad.
Face checking into crowd control.
That was definitely a 1v5. So yeah, this is going to be a big point for Aimee to be able to take out this wave. And then they're now, of course, the tower as well. And they have an ocean dragon that they can look towards. So Sky is looking at this saying, I can't contest for anything. He's going to look to probably just clear out the rest of the wave. He's just going to back at this point, actually. So Aimee takes a massive win off of NewBee just making one mistake.
Yeah, this is Ocean Dragon. Despite being down in gold, they break down the mid-tier 1 turret as Athena's laning advantage has allowed them to get that massive neutral objective very early on. With that Ocean Dragon, they will find more sustain as well, which certainly is going to help against LWX and more. Bet you wish they had that Ocean Dragon a little bit sooner in laning phase, though.
Yeah, but look at what's happening right here for Aimee. Yeah, sure, NewBee are going to be looking for this, but Nautilus has TP. Oh, he's going to use it defensively for this tower. He's not going to be able to do it. That's actually really poorly planned from him. Yeah. They could have set up for a fight because they recognized they were coming back onto the map slowly because of the dragon coming down. So they could have just said, hey, you know what? You have TP advantage. We have a lot of wards in their on their red side jungle. We can look for a TP flank play. That would have been a good idea. But they didn't plan for it. For whatever reason, they were surprised by this play.
Oh,
okay.
Man, Swift, once again, I've seen this play before.
All right. Calm yourself, Swift.
This time, though, he has Flash, so he's able to get out.
I mean, but you definitely don't want to use Flash. I mean, that's a good point. He definitely doesn't kill himself over this play. But he doesn't want to be the detriment, especially since we mentioned this is Swift's team. He needs to get ahead. He needs to keep moving. He is ahead. But if he starts to be the reason why they're falling behind, then, I mean, we're looking to the rest of the map and who can actually continue to carry. Coco's doing well. But that would be a new way for NewBee to win out their set. So, Swift.
Pops ultimate. Pings onto mid lane as Athena and Road have to take the long way around, but they're grouped as a unit. But on top of the equalizer, that means they separate. Swift leaps in, but Athena's able to scare him away. Ben 4 has to flash from Sky, who flanks from the side.
So that was interesting. That was a good ulti from Sky. That was okay. It was able to chunk out the carries in terms of Ben 4 and Jin Zhao. This could mean that NewBee can set up for another play. That was merely an investment towards either another siege or just control over the dragon, or at least the Baron side minions. They have it solidified. They can just move towards these waves because essentially Athena has nothing to do until he gets his ulti back again. So they can't really force a fight. Aimee can't do much at all at this point because of what they had to use to get out of that situation.
As it is, though, the waves reset just a little bit, so it is still
no! Oh, what have you done,
Coco
Swift?
Is just unlucky with his blue.
First he doesn't. I'm blaming Swift for this one.
Yeah, you could see them talking in chat as well on the portraits. Oh, he's doing it again. Stand still. Oh. Swift ain't got time for you, blue buff, Coco.
This guy's gonna have to pay for his crimes the first time around. The red buff steals it this time around. He doesn't even. He's doing his other camp.
Red buff doesn't steal it. It burns it down to 1.
Okay.
So it takes an active ability use as Athena walks into a charm. Ooh, that hurts.
Pretty sure red buff steals it. I'll tell you right now. I'm pretty sure red buff steals it. I feel like we've had this discussion already too. But yeah. But the Cinder Hulk, I'm pretty sure other points don't steal it, but it's definitely a red buff that does steal it.
Okay.
Take the last hit. We'll look back at it. Someone's going to make a fool out of one of us. I'm sure.
Neat. Thanks. With Athena down, NewBee are setting up top as they look for this tier 2 turret. Coco's going to get some damage. Nobody's defending this.
Yeah,
there they go. Now they're starting to realize.
Yeah, this is Aimee slow in rotation. I mean, Athena was able to die at this point. These are big wins coming out of NewBee.
Yeah, Ben4 finally shows up. Half the health on that tier 2 has been dropped. Jin Zhao with double buff is keeping mid lane held down rather well. He used True Shot Barrage to make sure LWX couldn't push up. And Amazing J is holding zone against Sky in the bottom lane. After this 20-minute mark, the 1-3-1 is in full effect. And Coco is showing that despite a bad laning phase, he's still got the presence of mind to look for a lucky charm. Yeah,
and it's a tough lane up against that Katarina, but at this point in the game, you know, Swift's doing very well. Ari's playing towards Swift as we always wanted him to do so he's able to get a lot of key rotations. And at this point in the time in the game, he's 2-0-2. They have a nice and comfortable 3K, 4K gold lead just in between, so 3.5. But yeah, NewBee's doing really well at this point. They just need to be able to convert it now.
This has been the question for them. We know they're mechanically talented, individually skilled enough. There's just been something missing that lets them close out the games themselves. They've got a relatively easy to execute on composition this time around. But now they just need to show that they can close it out against the late game team fighting team of Aimee, who are definitely showing us something new. Athena looks for the dagger. He hesitates for a moment, and then, nah.
Yep. I mean, just jumping off your point right there, the late game team fighting team, you look at their composition, they have the likes of Lulu. Jin Zhao is looking to scale up as well. Amazing J, he's on that Nautilus, like he's going to be a bit of a beast. And so overall, sure, Ben4 was fairly far behind in his game, but if he starts to get items underneath him, he is going to be a strong force to deal with, especially Aimee with the holistic point of the team comp, because we don't really talk about Jin Zhao. I mean, we do as a general point, but when he's on this Ezreal, he's kind of been a very silent point. And it's mostly because he's just trying to scale up. He's trying to get to a point where he's got that Muramana.
NewBee are looking for picks here. Amazing J is there. The hook catches more. What a skill shot.
I don't know if he wanted that.
Yeah, he's chunked down to half. Let's see where Athena is. He finally catches up. Equalizer is right on top of Aimee. They're forced to back out. Athena finally catches up, but it's Swift that he sees as Road dies to Coco. Spirit Rush is able to keep up with the separated Aimee, and they find that pick.
And the one game they decide not to ban the Rumble, he goes off. He's able to get a key crucial, or at least the TP, on top of his Rundle ultimate, the Equalizer. And now with Lulu down on all of this one, they're going to be looking for a siege up here. LWX doesn't have much HP to his name, so they have to worry about the counter engage here.
Aimee, instead, they just clear out their waves and ping side lanes. Amazing J heads bottom as Athena clears out some wards and heads back top. So the pick that Aimee had attempted, I hesitate to say it was deliberate because it looked like Amazing J was just walking top and then, oh, NewBee's here. Yeah. And he chucked out a hook and all of Aimee followed up. I have to imagine it was deliberate because all 5 of Aimee were there, but NewBee just happened to react appropriately and turn it around.
Yeah, a lot of the times you look towards Aimee's engages as the game goes on. They kind of do it just because they have a lot of faith in their team fighting. You're like, all right, you know, that wasn't well planned, but they're doing it anyways. And that was a point where Amazing J, you know, that's when you start saying, oh, he's just testing his limits.
Yeah,
he's just testing. He definitely didn't recognize how much damage was going to come through on both Coco and LWX. LWX was doing so much damage at this point right now. He's got his IE and he's able to get his Renon's Hurricane. So question is, what is he going to go next? I would say it's going to be going towards maybe an armor penetration item, as I say that.
Oh, no. Whoa! Amazing J actually catches Swift. He doesn't have Flash, though, so he's 1v2. True Shot Barrage comes out, and Road is pinging on the way. He's trying to make it down there, but they just don't have enough damage yet. He's going to turn the depth charge down, but Swift is able to cleanse Flash out of that knock-up, and Sky clears out the minion wave.
That was a really good play from the rest of Aimee to recognize that Nautilus is going to take a long time to kill, especially since Sky is going to be able to overheat himself. There's no damage coming out of them to be able to deal with the Amazing J. So Aimee was in full force to be able to help him out, so Swift had to flash away.
NewBee got a little bit of push pressure in the mid lane as a result of it, but now the roaming squad of Aimee are chasing NewBee right back around. They're not afraid of Swift now that they know the ultimate is on cooldown, so they will contest this blue.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, roaming squad. This is Aimee saying that we can take a team fight. They're pretty strong at this point, and if you look towards Athena, he's going towards the Zonias, and that's going to make their team fight even better, where he can just honestly play that control mage on a Katarina. If he gets exhausted, if the team looks to focus him in team fights, he can just Zonias, pull a lot of attention away from Jin Zhao and Ben4 to be able to do as much damage as possible.
Athena eats a charm to the face, perhaps trying to bait Coco forward, with Ben4 waiting on the side, but Coco does not take it, despite I think he lost laning phase all 3 games. He has been able to keep his cool the entire time. It's been a really tough setup, but he's been playing calm and collected. And at this point, he's 3-0-2, still down in CS, but definitely having an impact in these fights.
Yeah, I mean, Athena has been playing so well this series, which, I mean, when 2 days later, 1 week later, you look towards the result and you're just going to say, well, Aimee didn't play well, and people will look towards the results, I mean, rather than talking about the individual play. So Athena will be lost in history. But we're looking... oh, wait a minute. Oh.
They're spotted out by that. Here comes the directional pings. They are on their way. Blue Trinket, NewBee, very opportunistic.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking about.
Wait, was the blast cone there? Could they have just hopped the wall as a unit instead of going around through the vision of Aimee?
They could have very well done that. I mean, it just comes down to the point where NewBee recognized the ward was there, or at least the scuttle crab, and they just did it anyways. They thought they had enough time to be able to do it, so that was just an interesting point. I guess just testing Aimee on that point.
Mistakes were made.
Yep.
However, yeah, as you said, it could have just been a test on Aimee to see if they're on their toes. It took a second, but they did respond appropriately. They've now set up a lot of vision nearby as they're going to look for a little bit more items and continue to reset those side lanes, reset the map, and prepare for the next big pick or objective.
Yeah, so even though Aimee, they're at a deficit, and as you mentioned, like NewBee are just going to look to reset and look to prepare once again for the next objective. But Aimee have set up some really good control wards on the map here, just defensive one. There are 4 in both, like, or at least 2 in the blue side of their own jungle, and just 2 in the top side here, where they're able to take full control of just whatever play NewBee are going to be looking for. They can't look towards going Baron again, because they can recognize that happening, or the picks for that as well. NewBee are definitely going to have to take some time, about a minute or 2, to be able to then challenge that. So that's Aimee being able to stall out the game once again here.
Yeah, we just saw Road move that river control ward into the jungle of NewBee on the backside of that red buff. Not entirely sure what he's looking for, as there's no Drake spawning anytime soon, and it's Cloud Drake in a few minutes as well. So perhaps Aimee preparing for something down the road. Could be indicative that they're ready to sit here and wait, or contest the vision on the top side of the map.
Ooh, I think it's just going to come down to sit and wait, because they know that they can't contest unless if a key and crucial member of NewBee aren't there. And if we've seen a few NewBee games to recognize that they're going to not have the members there all the time. But as a general point, Aimee are just waiting for that one fight. They recognize that they can just take that one fight. If it comes in their way, it's going to be great. And the setting they're envisioning is going to be Baron. For instance, if NewBee just goes towards the Baron, because they're just testing whether or not Aimee can really walk over. They had the wards to be able to do just that. So Aimee can just take a Baron fight. Maybe they can turn it in their way. We've seen a lot of miracle runs from Aimee, miracle team fights even. But NewBee are playing this nice and slow. They were able to clear out a few control wards.
Void Staff now picked up by Sky as he just completed his next recall, and actually groups with his team. Swift pops the ultimate, but just scares Aimee back, which means that NewBee are able to get in deep and set up a lot of vision. Road has found Swift, but I'm not sure that's something you want to find. And oh, they found Athena.
That was so good.
Chunked down to half, and with the Void Staff, Leandri's penetration, Athena's so low. There's nobody to defend mid, and NewBee knock it right on down.
And I'm surprised Sky didn't use his ulti to try and finish the deal. I mean, Athena would have been able to get away from it, but you've chunked him so low, and you can, take the tower, but you can also just peel back towards Baron and recognize that Athena doesn't have TP to be able to get there quickly. And so right now, NewBee are moving very quickly and looking for these towers.
Yeah, looks like Aimee are a little slow to respond. Amazing J is on his way top, and once again, the wave clear problem rears its ugly head for Aimee. There's nobody there, and the top tier 2 drops. Amazing J is ready. He's got the hook. He's looking for the positioning, but they're going to try to force the fight first. Ben 4 turns on the Spliff to split. Ben 4 gets in. He gets some damage. The Equalizer is on top of Amazing J. Only Road can't find a way in, and Redemption tops NewBee off. Coco goes in and misses the charm. Still no sign of Athena. He's tossed in one dagger, but that's about it, and NewBee are able to set themselves up in a good position in the jungle and force Aimee back.
And that just comes down to unluckiness in a sense. The charm didn't hit, if the execution had gone down, Ben 4 would have died. Amazing J was very close to dying as well. NewBee was in a fantastic setting and a fantastic fight. It was risky because that was the only fight that Aimee really wanted to be able to. Oh, okay, you know what? You can do that.
Misclick.
It was risky because Aimee are just looking for that one fight to come back into the game where NewBee can play it safe. Say we pushed you so far back here. We took that inner mid lane turret. We took that inner top lane turret. And we can just go towards Baron now because we have so many waves that we could push you in on and then look towards Baron. But they go for the fight, and it actually was looking great for NewBee for a little bit.
Was looking good for a while, and things are still looking good for them as they're 6,000 gold ahead. 3 items finished on Coco, whereas it's 2.5 on Athena. And still 2 items. Jin Zhao, or excuse me, 3 items, going for the Maw of Malmortius completion before finishing off Blade of the Ruined King. So definitely respecting Coco and Moore's damage, or excuse me, Sky. As that Rumble is going to be doing work in the bottom lane. Amazing J is slowly being burned down. Swift shows himself as the rest of Aimee baited out towards Baron.
That was a bad move from Swift there. He bought Aimee a lot of time. Aimee then moved towards the Baron. They're not going to be looking towards the Baron. Coco.
Yeah, looking for the charm.
Oh, they're looking for the fight.
Off with the pass, and this is a collapse from 3 directions. Ben4, separated from his team, is trying to fight. Aimee looks for Sky. That's Ben4 dying on the side as they manage to trade 1-for-1. Top 4 jungle, but that is smiteless. Amazing J eats a charm, but he's nice and tanky at this point, and traps will lock them in their own jungle.
Now, this could be great for NewBee, or it could be a disaster. The taking down the jungle for Ben4 means that they can look towards the Baron. Oh, but they can lose the fight.
Catches Swift. He's on top of a trap, though. Depth charge onto Coco, and he has no ultimate. Athena's exhausted as he leaps in, but turns it around. Zanya stalls this out. Redemption tries to top it off. Swift looks for Jin Zhao and will almost get it, but he flashes over the wall. Swift pursues and does not get the kill. Jin Zhao is still alive. Athena, meanwhile, has been cleaning up. LWX is doing work, but he has got the cooldown reset on top of Zanya, so there's nothing to save him. Oh, goodness. Moore doesn't fire out the inner flame, and it ends up being 3 for 4 in favor of Aimee.
And you could tell LWX was trying, he watched that VOD, he was taking a look at SMLZ, thinks he can get a quadra kill over it, but he gets the double kill and couldn't get the kill on Athena and Jin Zhao with his Runan's Hurricanes. So overall, that was a very, very risky fight for NewBee. NewBee had the numbers to be able to go towards Baron, but they couldn't take the fight. And here's how. This was great overall from Aimee to be able to skirt the range. If you look towards Athena, take a look at this. Like, a road was just zoning 3 people along with Amazing J, which gave a lot of time for both Jin Zhao and Athena to do so much damage here.
And Athena finally cleans it up.
Oh, look at this. This guy thinks he's a Kag'Mar or something.
100-0. Oh, Zanya's as the Soul Flare is tossed out.
Yep.
Really close. 3-1-3 for Athena when it's said and done. And he's starting to catch up in items to Coco as he completes that Void Staff instead of going straight for the Abyssal Scepter. Meanwhile, Bilgewater Cutlass picked up on Jin Zhao as he is scaling up as well. But LWX, as you said, he's got his own Hex Drinker and another 3 items. So we're seeing NewBee and Aimee get later and later into this set. Aimee might be finding their comfort zone.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. I mentioned the mistake that Swift made much earlier on to set up that fight, and it was because he used ulti towards going down towards Amazing J. It gave Aimee a great position towards Baron, and honestly just shifted all of the vision that NewBee had set up in the Baron side. It had just demolished, and with that being said, Aimee was able to control the timing. Now, the team fight went through, and it worked very well for Aimee. But it was just a risk that for like NewBee, they shouldn't be able to take. They just look for a very greedy kill on Amazing J, but here comes the Rengar ulti.
Yeah, looks like Aimee are back in that situation that they are so comfortable in. Flash hook on the Sky as they force it. Ben4 is split, but he's going to be able to make it over the wall. Pursued by Swift with Ebola.
This is a great one.
That's an equalizer on top of 3. Ben4 is burning away. He's healed and kept alive, and Amazing J takes the brunt of the damage in order to knock up Coco and prevent him from chasing right away. A noble sacrifice, but a sacrifice nonetheless.
That was such a good Rumble ulti. I was wondering whether it was going to be vertical or horizontal to cut out the lane completely. He really just cut the lane down and made it very easy for Coco to be able to get the charm, and now they're on Baron.
Yeah, Ben4 is super low health. He's going to have to find a way in here, and it's already down to 4,000, 3,000. They're burning through. Ben4 is too late. Baron picked up. Athena is exhausted, and Swift scares him away. There's no chance for Aimee to trade it out, and Jin Zhao
is there an exit strategy?
Might be looking for the MVP outplay here.
That was a crit.
They have to get away from Swift, but he follows up. Arcane Shift isn't going to get you out of this one, as Aimee are running for their lives. The Polo cooldown, dodge it, Ben4, or Flash. That's also a good option.
It's a good dodge.
Yeah, that works. But they've got Baron, NewBee. They didn't lose a single member over the course of that engage, and now with a wave of minions pushing in, they're going to look for this inhibitor.
Yeah, there we go. This is going to be a big win for NewBee to be able to take this. And the inhib, as you mentioned, these are great fights coming around overall. And the exhausts are piling onto Athena.
Yeah.
Even though he is so far ahead, he has himself the Void Staff, Zhonya's, and Gunblade. At this point, it's so hard for him to be able to get these fights through. If the fights are ultimately not being won out by Aime, he can't jump in. And every time he does, of course, the exhausts come through from Moore and Coco almost on off cooldown. Every time it's off cooldown, Moore uses it again just for the hate, just for the heck of it. It's like, I don't want you to move for half a second.
Keep this Katarina locked down. Prevent Athena from showing us what he can do. If he can actually play the champion or not. I mean, he can play laning phase. We've seen that, and now we actually find Swift.
Yeah, this is a bit of a stretch.
Chases him around, but there's not enough burst damage on that cat, so 100-0. A Rengar, he actually pops ultimate. That's, all right.
You know what's funny? He's picking up so much HP just because of his Spirit Visage and Ocean Dragon.
And Ocean Dragon.
Yeah, literally, this guy has everything he needs to regen once again.
Full
it's
health.
Almost as if he has Warmugs. That's what it feels like.
That's amazing. 30 health per second. And he just runs all the way across the map for a single pink ward.
Got him.
Got it.
Target lockdown.
30 gold secured. All right. Oh, he might have been setting up for... No, he's recalling. I don't know what he wanted.
No, but this is a good play. I think even though he backed for it, he could have stuck around. But like I think that regardless of whether he's there or not, this is a great position for NewBee to just look up for this siege. It's going to be a little bit risky because, as you mentioned, he did back, and that is a bad back timing if they wanted to look for this. Oh, here we go.
Athena.
Crit to the face.
Once again, just chunking people out.
But yeah, Athena got crit. That's what's really risky, is that Caitlyn is unexpectedly good into, the Katarina. Not because he can just crit his face in, and that happens. But also because
drop a trap.
Yeah, you can just drop a trap right on top of the blades that are coming down onto the battlefield. And so at the very least, the resets aren't coming in from Athena.
Yeah, with Athena chunked down to half health, there's just not enough wave clear on Ben4 and Jin Zhao against the Baroned up minions. It's still got 45 seconds left. But with the mid inhib down and a large minion wave building up bottom, I may decide to give it up. Guardian Angel procced and ready for Swift as the cooldown reset, and LWX brings another minion wave in along with Coco. So NewBee playing it patient, but playing it well.
Yeah, patience a big term for this one, because LWX, as you saw, just like half a second where he was just kind of walking out of vision. So the enemy team is like, well, where's Caitlyn? Where is this champion?
Where's the damage source?
And so suddenly there's 3 people right there, right in front of your face, onto your castle doors. How is Aime going to be able to deal with this one? I mean, they have collateral damage, so for the next wave that comes through, maybe that's an option. But just take a look at the massive waves coming through the mid lane as well.
Swift just popping Thrill of the Hunt and sitting there, leaps in a bit overzealously, and a huge equalizer again. Athena drops a dagger and goes forward, which means Amazing J has to walk out. Meanwhile, Coco looks for the assassinations on as he's buying time. LWX finishes off the inhib as it's chaos, and they line themselves up. They manage to drop Coco. Athena's still up, but he's bullet in the back. Swift is looking for it, but he just can't quite find it. And Sky shreds it through. Amazing J goes down. LWX gets the auto. Jin Zhao keeps Ben4 alive, but Amazing J on respawn is forced to flash away. The inhib drops, but that's NewBee winning the fight. They've got one minion. Excuse me, they've got a cannon. Baron times perfectly as the minion wave rolls in.
They're going for it.
4 versus 3. NewBee trying to end a 4-game losing streak as they press forward. Swift is still so huge, and Jin Zhao is tossing these shots out. LWX is in the back firing shots. That's teleport being used by Sky. He's going to be topped up to full as the next super minion is on the Nexus turret. True Shot Barrage is not enough to clear out this wave completely as the Nexus turret goes low. Swift is still waiting in the back. He leaps forward. The Nexus turret is still standing, and he gets pulled back in as the Nexus turret goes down. The game is still going, but the Nexus itself has been laid bare.
They can just win these fights. This is ridiculous from NewBee.
Knock up. The equalizer is on cooldown. Jin Zhao is trying to cut it out. Swift is still so tanky, though. He's running so quickly. And Jin Zhao, you don't want to chase Rengar into the jungle. Or maybe he does.
It depends on how much HP that he can just regen off of this one. But that was a little bit crazy from NewBee.
Elder Dragon is up. Aime have got 5 members ready on their team. They're trying to clear out their base. You can see the observers scrolling through the vision. There is none for NewBee, so no backdoor teleport from Sky. But Elder Dragon's up, and Aime are on their way.
Yeah, so even though that was a bit over-ambitious from NewBee, there are still 2 inhibs down on the side of Aime. If they get this Elder Dragon, as you mentioned, then that would be fine. That would be great. I mean, it's going to happen. It's uncontested. But,
I mean,
yeah,
Athena's going to be in trouble. Can Katarina deal with that many super minions?
She should be fine, especially since her team's going to be able to back. They have to help her out.
All right, minion wave spawns in time, and they get the Elder Dragon.
Yep.
70 seconds for Baron to respawn with 2 inhibs down. And Elder Dragon under their belts. They're still trying to put a fight up.
So that was just like wrapping it all up into a bag. What's inside this bag? Well, guess what? And NewBee definitely made a wrong play. That was just really bad from them. Being able to look towards the Nexus, I mean, that's only if you have LWX completely protected. He got hooked and he died.
I feel like the answer is the cat's in the bag. It's Swift. You pop open the bag and then Rengar just
I mean, that's fair
leaps
too.
out.
But overall, that was just overly risky from NewBee. They should have just backed away. They got the inhib. They got 2 inhibs. Just back away, get what you have.
Yeah.
And then come back to... They don't need to all in on that point.
Baron's up in 30 seconds. Amazing J is trying to defend. You can see him topping himself off at base as super minions are still making their way down that bottom lane. NewBee show themselves as 5 in the mid, which means I may have got a small window with their Elder Dragon to match it, unless NewBee just try to end. Yeah,
and so this is the big question. The one team you don't want to have Elder Dragon is Aimee, especially 42 minutes into the game. So NewBee, yeah, sure, they have everything ready for them. The inhibs are coming back up, unfortunately. That's 1 inhib back up in the mid lane, and very soon you can expect that bot lane inhib could just be respawning after Elder Dragon is down. But that's another bit of time that NewBee has wasted.
Ooh, collateral damage is fired as Ben 4 gets caught and is forced to flash away. He eats Ace in the hole and will be forced to back off, but Swift is on the prowl. The rest of the team is there, but knowing that Ben 4 is so low, NewBee looked for the Baron instead. Swift is going to get some damage there. There's teleport. He drops Randuin, sorry. Amazing J gets in. That's redemption. Amazing J is not able to get the steal. Athena goes in and Zhonya's doesn't use, or actually he did use the ultimate. Ben 4 kites it out, and they drop Athena, and NewBee might be winning this fight. It's up to Jin Zhao. He's kiting it out as best he can. Coco goes into the front as more. He's going to drop to Jin Zhao. He's doing damage on the side, but Swift pursues. Jin Zhao's got the double kill. It's currently 3 versus 3. However, it's Baron versus Elder.
And you know who has straight path through the mid lane? That's NewBee. They're going to be able to push this on through. At the very least, they get this inhib, but if they feel a little bit lucky, then they're going to go for that 3v3.
They've got no tank. This is all mechanics. It's damage versus damage.
That's
and
what I like.
is going to prevent 1. Collateral damage burns onto LWX, but the inhibitor has fallen. So Ben 4 has got to defend bottom as the Baron up minions press in. And
all right.
We can take a deep breath.
Yeah, a little bit.
Game is still going.
You know, I didn't get the fight that I was looking for. I wanted that 3v3 rumble. It didn't happen because, you know, NewBee's a little smarter this time around. They're going to just take the inhib and back away. The next inhib should be coming up fairly closely for the bottom
Swift
lane.
Wasn't there, so they decided not to out-mechanics it.
Yeah, this time Swift is just a little bit quiet, maybe.
From the graveyard, shot calling. Yeah, Jin Zhao's going to pick up blue buff. Still a few minutes before that bottom inhibitor respawns, so Aimee have got to sit on the defensive. Luckily, though, there's only 2 minutes left on that Baron. Yeah, the inhib is spawning right now. You can see the animation spinning in. And with Banner of Command picked up, that actually is going to help out quite a bit.
Yeah, it was picked up a little bit long ago, but, you know, Rumble was dealing with it just quite fine. But here's the problem. The Baron is the problem. So the Baron buff being picked up by NewBee, they should just group up at this point. That's exactly what Aimee wants because they want to be able to take an outright fight. So it's up to NewBee to decide. I mean, they have Baron. They can push through towards the next inhibitor and be comfortable that the inhib through that was down in the mid lane can take the next creep wave. Unfortunately for NewBee, look where the wave is in the mid lane. That's going to take a long time to travel here. They don't have that time. This is going to give Aimee an opportunity to look for this fight if they wish for it.
They're setting up the siege right now. It's a trap line. Baron's still up for 70 seconds. Aimee are clearing out as best they can, but the minions make their way to the inhib, which means LWX can start poking at it from that turret. Amazing J fires out as there's the collateral damage to top them off.
Oh, here we go.
Hook is going to find LWX, and they're all layered up, but they're also on top of the equalizer. Athena in the back kills LWX. He's Zhonya's to stall it out, but it's a reset from Sky. Dies to Coco, who's kiting it on the far side, but Jin Zhao has been firing shots across the bow. He's able to clean up LWX and Sky, and now Swift. Triple kill for Jin Zhao at only the cost of Athena and Aimee. The late game team fighting team wins a late game team fight.
Hey, Dom, have I seen this game before?
I feel like I've seen this game before.
Yeah, I think I've seen this game before. This is exactly what happened at WE Game 1.
Oh, but they lost that game.
I mean, anything is possible here, all right?
Woo.
Anything is possible. Just take a look at this. As I mentioned, mid lane is not a threat for Aimee. They recognize this. They group up as 5, and they just go hard in there. Look at LWX's positioning. You already mentioned it. He gets demolished completely. At this point, they don't have their damage. Coco's like, I can't do anything at this point. They have to back away entirely. So this is, once again, Aimee saying, this is where we're standing. You're not going to get past us. If you're impatient, you're going to have a bad time. And if you're patient for the mid wave coming in, you're also going to have a bad time.
Yeah, they are known as the hard-working team, and it definitely shows. If there is even a chance, the tiniest chance, that they can get to the Nexus and try to go for a late game win, they will fight tooth and nail to make it happen. There was a negative 3,000 gold Baron, as I'm pretty sure that turret just leapt over a wall. Yep. Oh wait, that's Amazing Jay.
That's a big turret right there. They're looking for a play. No one's going to be able to walk past this point unless if
Okay.
They're fine.
Okay. All right. He tossed Charm over at Grump as Aimee looking for a pick, go for a recall. They reset minion waves. NewBee, they've still got their base set up. They've still got all of their tier 2 turrets, but we're getting to the point where death timers are going to be long enough for, if Aimee win a big enough fight, they could just push it in.
Exactly, and so I feel like, this is a great time for Aimee to reset. This is also a great time for us to reset. This is when we back away just a little bit, be like, all right, this game's not over yet.
You're right.
Looking at a NewBee, and it just comes down to it. Sure, you have your inhib down in the mid lane. You should be able to say, this is our pressure point. We can win through mid. We can just push it through. But Aimee is going to fight for that tooth and nail. And they don't have Baron anymore, so they just can't look to play out through waves. So this is a harder game from NewBee. At this point forward, either they become a very patient team, or they look to win through a team fight. These Caitlyn traps are going to mean so much. If Aimee can get past these traps without allowing LWX to get a cheeky amount of damage like that, then it's going to be great for them.
Yeah, Coco's able to get some true damage onto Amazing Jay and Ben 4 as Swift clearing out vision on the flank.
Where's this man going?
Is he backdooring?
Yeah, he's just going straight for that.
Where?
Yeah, he's going straight for it. Let's go in there.
He's looking for it.
Oh, you bought me in this.
Oh, he drops a ward as well, so Sky could follow up.
Oh,
what is he ward?
No, these are good P wards, actually. So this is a good place for...
It's
they're going for the back door.
He's actually
they're
doing
going
all
in for it.
Oh, they're actually going to race forward. They're not going to see Swift until he gets onto it. Amazing Jay, there's nothing for him to teleport. Minions just spawned. Mid tier 2 went down. Aimee are on the way. But this is Swift going for the Nexus. He's going straight for the back door. And Aimee are forced to walk, and now Swift is going to back it up instead.
Now, technically, that did its job because that reset pressure. But now he has to get himself out of there, and that's a little bit too much to ask for.
Boy.
So he's going to be looking for the rest of his team to be able to push that in. That being said...
Yeah, he flashes as well. That was a bit overextension. 70 seconds for the Baron, and Swift is going to be up in just the same amount of time. Yeah. However, he'll have to race out of base, whereas you're going to be certain Aimee will be sitting on that pit.
Put on your clown nose. Get your hat on. This is when...
This is not the EULCS, Raz.
This is when Aimee are going to go... They are comfortable with their team fight. Meanwhile, NewBee are just saying, we need to get to this Nexus turret. The inhibs are back up, so you have to kill the inhib now. That's too much of a wait for everybody involved. So suddenly, NewBee have to recognize they have to win through team fighting. If they can't win through team fighting, they just lose the game here.
Yo, that's a big equalizer. That's going to chunk them down quite a bit. Charm goes wide as Sky gets into the front. Amazing Jay teleport channel is completed as he starts walking it forward. It's a question of resilience for NewBee, but Athena goes in and backs right on out. Aimee are playing the game that they are known for. They've broken the inhib turret and now look for the inhibitor itself. It's still 5 versus 4, but they have broken down that mid inhib.
They just wanted to stall as much time as possible for Aimee. Now that Baron is coming up, 8 seconds onto it. This is a point where Aimee, they're actually resetting really slowly. So they need, if they're backing right now with Swift back onto the map, NewBee are going to be back onto the map first. They're already pinging onto Baron. They're going to have priority over there first. That's going to be a big question. NewBee, can they take Baron? Can they do it quickly enough?
Yeah, Swift is actually ulting towards the Baron. He's racing as quickly as possible, and an excellent Scryer's Bloom from Amazing Jay spots them out. NewBee, however, will start this off. Athena's on his way, but he is the farthest back. Jin Zhao is there, so it's tank and support against 5 members from NewBee, but they don't know that. They don't have enough vision, so they decide to peel off. True Shot Barrage finds LWX and LWX alone. and they will reset. But IMA are grouped as 5. They think that they've got NewBee split. Ben4 in the front has to back out. Now they're in the pit, but Coco's behind. He lands the charm and gets some damage, but Ben4's nice and tanky at this point. Scuttle Crab is picked up by Swift. No smite used by either jungler.
They're pinging onto the mid lane. So the inhib down for NewBee. NewBee's on a time limit. The minion waves are going to be able to pile up on, so I may actually have the time to just sit here and wait.
Equalizer once again, perfectly lined up. I had Ben4 in the front, has to leave it back. Swift gets in, but he's got a GA. Ace in the hole finds Xin Zhao. He's zoned out. Athena tries to get the execution. Ben4 flashes, but doesn't have enough. Amazing J is zoning in the front. Athena tries to follow onto LWX, but he doesn't have enough. Does not get the Zhonya's, and he goes down. Oh, man. He's going to try to get back up, though, and popped by LWX on respawn. Meanwhile, the flash over the wall. Xin Zhao is dead. Amazing J will drop, and LWX has done what he has needed. Redemption will be timed to heal up Amazing J, but there is just not enough tankiness. He drops to LWX. It's currently 1 versus 3.
That is game right there. These are long death timers coming out of IMA 4 members. Unless if we expect Road to be a beast on that.
He's going for it. He's no way. There's no way.
Yeah,
double super minions. They're attacking the minions right now.
No.
They've got to go through the minion wave.
Nah, this is over. LWX, he does way too much damage at the moment. Lulu is not going to be it. They're even putting Rengar up there.
Swift is down there as well. LWX is turning onto the Nexus. Road is going to have to fight Rengar 1 versus 1. But NewBee, 53 minutes in, have ended their 4-game losing streak against IMA.
That was powerful, and you know Road's going to be upset. Take a look at these people's faces. That's the 3rd time that I may have been that close to being able to win a game and just losing it out. Just so close to the Nexus turret, and they couldn't take it. And so NewBee, even the cameraman's a little bit upset about one. When it just comes down to it, yeah, you're right. They didn't get to the 5-game losing streak. They're back in it. They're now tied with game talents, and the race moves on.
Yeah, the race to 4th certainly is on. Joining us once again on the desk to help break down that 53-minute match is Rusty.
That was a exciting one, if nothing else. It was a battle of throws as well as good plays across the board. However, and NewBee are the ones who come out on top. And at the end of the day, they were better at the start, they were better at the end, and that's what matters the most. We saw that throughout this entire series. Whoever starts the game well tends to be the one who wins.
Yeah, and that was NewBee this time around, 2-1 as they're able to take the win. But whew, it was not easy, and you're certain they're smiling right now because they felt so stressed during that match. IMA really started to look like they were getting into that late game team fighting.
Yeah, and I mean, you look towards the composition of IMA, and man, it was really hard to be able to fight that team 5v5, especially since they were playing NewBee was playing a little bit impatiently. They had the inhibs down. They could have just really waited for it. But it came down to it. They knuckled up, and they definitely lost a few fights for that one.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I want to take this back to the beginning of the game to say that this actually all starts from Swift. He won the entire series.
Yeah.
And the rest of his team, they held it down. They got him through those late game team fights where he was making a lot of mistakes. He always does it. Positional errors across the board from Swift. He did it in game 2 as Graves, even when he was fed. He's done it a lot in this Rengar game, but he gets them so far ahead that even though he's making these mistakes, his team thankfully can actually round it up nicely. And that was an incredible performance from Sky.
Yeah.
And really well done from the whole team to actually get around him.
Yeah, suddenly those Rumble bans are making a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, he finally showcased it, and I think even without the Rumble, he played really well. Being able to see this kind of presence from Sky, and I mean, yeah, sure, look at his damage, but I don't really care for the damage. I care about how he played around Swift, and he played around him so well. The entire team, you can even see, of course, LWX got to the point where he was doing so much damage in the team fights, he was very irrelevant, and that was because of the front line really allowing him to do just that. Even Coco was able to do just that. A lot of pressure coming forward, but, you know, the Katarina couldn't really do much in this game.
Yeah, and I think when we looked at the draft phase as a whole, the Ahri pick actually is something that stands out a lot more to me. The reason that I like the Ahri on Coco is because he has flanks. He's always on the side lanes. Yeah. When you see the last fight that actually broke out in this game, it was around him being able to threaten Xin Zhao. And granted, both AD carries were absolutely going off in that last fight. The Caitlyn was just a little bit more protected, which was ultimately the difference. This is an IMA fight, but I actually just want to highlight first and foremost how Xin Zhao plays this one out, because the Rumble zones him perfectly, and they do everything they can here, NewBee, to ensure that he can only throw out Qs, and that's what he does. Still kills people with those Qs, But Caitlyn's auto-attacking most of the time and able to actually be in the face of people that are running at him, whereas Ahri threatens flanks, stops the Ezreal from auto-attacking, and at this stage of the game, whoever gets more auto-attacks off his AD carry is going to be the one that wins the fight for his team, and that's why LWX is able to come out on top, and Jin Zhao still gets close, but can't get over the line.
Yeah, and I mean, even just looking at it, how long the fight went through and how well protected LWX was. He comes out multiple fights, full HP, because the rest of his team really set it up for him. So he's going up against really just like, I guess, near 100, 200 HP, multiple targets where he's able to just flash in. That was multiple flash forwards that he was able to do, and it was just because of how much pressure the rest of his team was able to give him.
And most importantly, Nautilus used his ultimate early.
Yeah.
And that's where everything actually breaks down. Once Amazing J uses the ultimate, NewBee are able to actually completely turn it around and say, we can win this fight now because the Caitlyn's not going to be locked up, and you can't actually QSS out of a knock-up or any CC that's going to displace you, and because that was missing, really easy fight for NewBee to execute on.
Yeah, it certainly was. To follow up on that a little bit, the fact that the success for Aimee really seemed to hinge on whether or not they could kill LWX, and the person who was primarily looking for that was Athena in the mid lane on that Katarina. Totally new to see this sort of control mage player break out the assassin and crush laning phase, but in team fights, sometimes he found LWX and they won the fight, and as you saw in that last fight, sometimes he didn't and they lost.
And honestly, even I think the second game was the most impressive when Rengar Ben 4 was getting out-pressured consistently, and it felt like it was the mid lane. It was Athena that was pushing him far ahead. And Athena in the third game as well, even though he was on the Katarina, he went towards the bot lane dive, and they would turn out into positives if Ben 4 on the opposite side didn't concede. So, of course, just take a look at this man. Gets the win.
No surprise. MVP goes to Swift once again. His third MVP overall at 4, 5, and 12. And it's exactly what you said, Rusty. He gets his team snowballing so that even if the snowball starts falling apart, it's still an avalanche.
He won the game, but he almost lost them the game all the same. Around that Baron fight, if he didn't actually get over the wall with the explosive plan, didn't get the smite off on the Baron, and perhaps I may get that. That was game over. Yeah. But luckily for his team, he did exactly what was needed. No more, and just no less.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the smallest amount of no less.
The rest of his team just played around a lot of his obviously his pluses and his negatives as well. So if he died, they was like, all right, I guess we're backing away. We're not conceding anything more. That's a definite breath of fresh air for NewBee, where we saw them just kind of fall apart if Swift fell apart. And so this time around, they fell when Swift was definitely starting to lose certain points, blowing flashes randomly. They just played it calmly, and I think this is a really good look at NewBee. Obviously, this is their first win in a very long time.
Yeah.
So we have to see more from them to see if they can continue forward. The next set is day 4 up against OMG. So if they can take down OMG after taking down Aimee, I like our chances with this team.
Yeah, it could be that they would finally demonstrate, hey, we found our identity. It's Swift.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's one of those heartwarming moments where you're like, you know what? Our identity was always there.
Yeah.
We just had to look within ourselves.
They went on this great journey to find a magical treasure of their identity, and at the end, it's just a single mirror that shows their own face, because you are the treasure all along, NewBee.
Oh, you know what? A lot of people out there are going to get heartwarmed. Or, you know, either one.
It's always been Swift, let's be honest. It's Swift. They didn't just wake up one day, roll out the right side of the bed and be like, all right, it's our jungler that carries. Like, they started like that. It's just that they actually had him show up on the day, which is amazing, because still inconsistent, still plagued by mistakes, definitely showed a lot of weaknesses that teams can look at and exploit from him. But he showed strength. He showed the ability to be an S-tier player and outplay the rest of the map of Aimee this time around, and that's where it counts.
Yeah, and honestly, just taking a look at this, I think what we learn from this going forward is just, yeah, we're going to take a look at NewBee to see where they go from here, but also take a lesson from the top side of the map, because V wasn't playing poorly. He, as we mentioned, we talk about how he's just still performing, doing his job, being that role player, but Sky really played well around the rest of the map as well. He had great moments, and so it's a big question. Yeah, so sure, you'd look towards the bottom side for NewBee, say, that's replaceable. You look towards mid lane, you're like, all right, cooler, Coco. It seems like everybody on the map is going through that revolving door, but I do like Sky and how he was playing, so I think that's also justifiable.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. The Rumble being banned from games 1 and 2, it makes sense that they should have banned it in game 3 now, and that's actually a relatively big point that Aimee should be able to fix moving into their next drafting phases, because they ban Malzahar and then they pick Lulu as if they want to get rid of the Rengar-Lulu combo. So simply from drafting phase, Aimee put themselves into this rut that they couldn't get out of because they gift NewBee once again, 2 games in a row, a fantastic draft that I may outplay themselves on to give to their opponents.
Yeah, just a little bit of mind games. It's good that we're actually seeing the adaptation out of NewBee in terms of these drafts, because that also has been a problem for them in the past, that they draft themselves into these really weird sort of team comp holes. But this time, blue side, all 3 games, maybe a mistake from IMA to prioritize that red side in game number 2, but NewBee showing us at least a little bit of growth, and that's really all that we wanted to see from them.
Yeah, I think from the full game, 3-game series, what it comes down to, I think the adaptation came from both ends, but we saw how teams really came out when it came down to it. I think NewBee just came out as a better team, obviously. Like, even though overall IMA or their late game is still showing like great points, the early game is it's just not there, and so it just comes down to Swift completely outplaying the Ben 4 in this matchup time and time again. He's able to just really force the issue regardless of what matchup he has. This time he was in the Rengar versus Graves matchup, but then Graves, especially level 1, didn't even look to invade, didn't look to pressure point, even though he had the proper mid lane. So Ben 4 plays it a lot more passively than how Swift would play in that matchup.
It really creates this interesting dichotomy for IMA. They very nearly won late game against WE 50 minutes in the exact same situation, but then they did the same thing against NewBee, a team that was tied for last in their group. Does that sort of resonate with either of you guys? Like the fact that, yes, they are excellent at team fighting, they're excellent at waiting for this sort of late game moments, but they're doing it against the best teams and the worst teams.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to see if NewBee becomes a consistent team for this one, right? Because they were able to, and the last time we sounded the bells about NewBee becoming a new team, right? That they fell apart soon afterwards. So we need to see, I mean, they're going up against IMA. We need to see if they can do it against tougher opponents or just more consistent opponents, especially in OMG. That's turning out to be a very consistent mid-tier team right now in their group. So overall, I want to see more about this team. And I mean, IMA right now, they're not really a bad team. They're not really a good team. They're just like, they win, they lose, they win, they lose. They seem to be a consistent team. Obviously, losing to NewBee put some questions towards that. I want to see how they do up against Game Talents, because it feels like the Game Talents curse. You lose to Game Talents, losing streak all aboard.
I think the TLDR as well is that IMA winning really good team fights. They are a good team fighting team.
Yeah.
But the reason they're able to do all of this is because their opponents aren't being very good at late game team fights, quite simply. If you have a 6,000 gold lead, you have a Baron, you accelerate that to 10,000, there's no reason for you to suicide trying to kill the Nexus turrets. You just wait for the next wave, use the Baron buff, pressure them out, or actually play on the map accordingly and slowly. You don't have to accelerate when a game is already won. You can take your time and actually work into a victory. WE were 12,000 gold ahead at 25 minutes in a game, and they incrementally took every single inhibitor turret and inhibitor, went back to base, made sure they were as strong as possible with elixirs, and then won. Like, that makes sense. Like, they're being safe. No one else is doing that right now.
Well, that could be something that we look for the rest of these higher teams in the LPL. We're going to go ahead and get ready for our next matchup. Don't go anywhere. We've got IG taking on Xiaogu after the break.